For the second straight week to start the 2025 season, New Orleans Saints had the football in their hands in the final moments with a chance to drive down the field and win the game. For the second straight week, they failed. Glass half full says that they are better than the naysayers predicted thus far. The glass half empty says 0-2 is 0-2. For those grounded in reality, which one is more correct? Does it even matter? On the other end of the spectrum, LSU is 3-0, but some are sounding more upset than Saints fans. There's just no pleasing anyone these days, except maybe Tulane fans and loyal members of the Dattitude family. Let's see if we can hyperspace everyone back into the here and now. Oh, you mean right now? Okay, let's do it. Here we go.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? I have braced myself for the insanity that is about to come as we're so close to ready to click on that button that says show comments. Yeah. Not quite yet. Woosah. Yoga. Channel my inner Aaron Rodgers. I don't do that because I don't want to be an asshole. Be just, ooh, you could do it. You know where we are? You know what's good? Dattitude is good. Episode number 415 presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, September the 15th, 2025. I have not even kind of looked at a single comment yet, but how do I know what's coming? I just know what's coming. There's going to be, I just have this feeling there's going to be a lot of insanity. I welcome it. We always welcome on Mano E Monday. You could say whatever is on your mind. We're going to show most of them. If you get too silly, we might not show it, but we'll show most of them. If you're new here, you're wondering who's Woo San like 2 minutes into the show. I am Jim Derry, 35 years on the New Orleans sports media scene. Whether you have been with us for one show, this show, 415 of them, or somewhere in between, I thank you for being a part of the Dat Family. The Dat Family is going to be all here today. I know that. What is very special about our show, besides the fact that we have a family, you could be a part of today's episode and every episode. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Whether you're watching live, if you watch it after the fact, it's okay. You can. I got some emails over the weekend. I got some direct messages over the weekend. I respond to most of them. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live at 11 a.m. Central Time. Again, if you're watching after the fact, you can get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. via email, jderry@theadvocate.com. And if you haven't done so already, please take a second to subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Breaking news this morning. LSU has got a pretty big commitment from, what's his name again? His name's Peyton. What is it, Gabe? Tell me real quick. As I go on the show, I'll tell you. Pop Houston. Got a kid named Houston. Gabe ought to know the kid named Houston. Pop Houston from Evangel has committed to LSU. There you go. Exciting stuff, boys and girls. We're excited. Breaking news here in the Dattitude packet. You think I'd be able to spout out his name, but my mind is on what is coming to me. We're going to have fun this morning. We'll talk more about probably Pop Houston in a little bit because we are going to talk about LSU. We're going to get to Brian Kelly's comments later on this morning. I mean, I think it's a little bit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been around coaches my entire life. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I've been around coaches my entire life. I mean, who cares? I mean, first of all, the outrage and the ridiculous reaction from LSU fans is incredibly asinine. We'll get to that in a minute. They're 3-0 for Christ's sake. I mean, they're ranked third in the country. What the hell do you want? LSU fans are, and look, I went to LSU. I get it. LSU fans are so, there is no, I can't say no. I'm going to say, of the ones that I know, okay, of the fan bases that I know fairly well, LSU fans are the least based in reality of any fan base that I've ever seen or know. It's absurd. We're going to get to that. But we're leading with the Saints today. We got a lot of things to talk about. We'll get into the Saints. I said we're going to lead with the Saints. Actually, as you know, I like to get in a couple other things first. This may come up along the way. I see there's a ton of comments in the queue. I know I got to get to them. It's Mano E Monday. Joe Burrow. You think you got it bad? Saints fans, look, it could always be worse, man. You think about, look, I know the Bengals have been to a Super Bowl more recently than the Saints. They haven't ever won one. They've been there more recently than the Saints, but they are just they're a mess. And I took the bait. I thought going into this year they're going to be really good. Look, Joe Burrow out for 3 months. There goes my Bengals prediction. It's okay. You know what we said last week, and it's true. Some people hate me when I say this. The term injury prone. They hate the term injury. There's some, especially players. Players hate injury prone. But when you go hurt, I don't care how bad his O-line sucks. He is now going to miss significant time for the 3rd season out of 6 that he's been in the NFL. Joe Burrow is unquestionably injury prone. It's something different this time. But you know what? The greats, how much time has Lamar Jackson missed over his career? Not a whole lot. How much time has Josh Allen missed? I don't think any. How much time has Patrick Mahomes missed? I can't remember any. I mean, Tom Brady missed one season throughout his 21-year career. But other than that, he was, went pretty well for him. Drew Brees, he takes this huge shoulder injury, right? As he leaves San Diego, and people think, oh, he's done. No. Drew Brees pretty much went through the rest of his career, for the most part, without significant injury. But there are certain players, running backs, quarterbacks, whatever position you play, they're quote-unquote injury prone. And Joe Burrow has that label on him, whether he wants it or not. Now the Bengals are in a whole world of doo-doo. And the Baltimore Ravens fans are drinking champagne this morning. Because there's zero doubt, and I mean zero doubt, that they are the best team in the AFC North. And I don't know how, are they going to get challenged? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they're going to get challenged by, who are they going to get challenged by? The Browns are absolutely horrendous. The Steelers pretty much are who we thought they were after yesterday, right? I know it's only week 2. I don't want to overreact, but I mean, maybe the Ravens just cruise on to another AFC North title. Anyway, you think you got it bad as a Saints? My point is this. You think you got it bad as a Saints fan? How about the Chicago Bears? They are awful. They lost 52-21. Ben Johnson's this great offensive mastermind. You know what? The Lions still have the players. You know what I think of Dan Campbell as a coach, but the Lions still have the players. Johnson, maybe it wasn't all Ben Johnson. Caleb Williams is, I don't care what anybody says. He's mediocre at best. The number 1 draft. Get the hell out of here. Jaden Daniels way better than Caleb Williams. My point is, you think you got it bad? It's not as bad as some of these other places that are supposed to be good. Year after year, you keep talking about how it's going to be better, different this year. And then it's not different. You know that you're in a rebuilding year here with the Saints. That's it could always be worse. Can't be worse. Yes, it can. Be a lot worse. Anyway, we're going to get into that. Again, later on in the show, we're going to get into Brian Kelly's comments. We're going to get in LSU. We're going to lead with the Saints and lead with the tons of comments that I have right now. I know I'm going to be behind when I get there. Before we go on, and again, I'm going to talk about Tulane later, but I want to give a huge shout out. I told y'all Friday that I was going to Ullman Stadium for the first time as a fan, I guess is the way to put it. First time I ever saw a Tulane play at Ullman Stadium. So it had been a long time since I've seen Tulane play. Long time. In person, anyway. Of course, I watch their games. But I had a fantastic Wonderful experience. My good friend Jerry from Mandeville Seafood. I give Mandeville Seafood a shameless plug here in the Dattitude podcast this morning. Brought my wife Drea and I to the game. We had a blast. We tailgated before the game, and it's a wonderful, just compact little, kind of family-oriented tailgating experience. They had Duke fans walking around. It was just great. I had a wonderful time. Met a new friend, Ben, who is the president of the Greenbackers. Give a shout out to the Greenbackers. Jerry wanted me to make sure that Jerry's been a long time Greenbacker. If you're a Tulane fan, you even think it's super cheap to become a Greenbacker. Okay, it's like $50 a year, the same price that it's been for 30 or 40 years. Whenever it started. But if you go out to Tulane games, you want to be a part of this group. Love the Greenbackers. I thank them for their experience this weekend, and I most certainly will be back to Yeoman Stadium very soon. Loved it. And Tulane played better than any of the other two teams that we're going to talk about here today. LSU won. Well, I don't know. That defense was incredible. Wow, what a job. 5 interceptions. DJ Lagway sucks, I get it, but still. Man, what a night. All right, time to get to the crux of this show. Before we do that, though, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they are a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If it's someone you know, if it's you or someone you know, it's time to reach out to my friends at Evangeline. They're founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. And from there, you'll be well informed and begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Well, you're going to have to wait a little bit. We'll fill you in more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. We also got Derry's Dime coming up. Comments from Kellen Moore, comments from Spencer Rattler, and who knows, we might even hear something from Jim Mora. Something he said, 38 years ago, I think the same week or pretty close to it, maybe a little after. 38 years ago, something he said 38 years ago that works just as well today. We're going to hear from all of that. All right, I got to get to the comment stream, of course. I'm preparing myself, Gabe. Give me a woosah as we move along here. I'm going to start with William. Good morning. It seems Vegas has gotten it right again. They were right on the money. This team is bad. This team is bad. So why are the Saints trading away? Oh, Lord. You got to be joking. See, this is why I should read comments before I just show them on the screen. Why are the Saints trading away draft capital? If you're talking about the trade for wide receiver Jalen Polk, this is like the 4th or 5th question I've gotten on this. Okay, calm down, first of all. And if I get more of these, I'm just not going to show them because I'm going to address you all right now on the Jalen Polk trade. The Saints traded a 2027, 2 years from now, not next year, 2 years from now. They traded a 2026 6th-round draft pick, a 2027 6th-round draft pick. They get Jalen Polk, who's a former 2nd-rounder. Has had his issues in New England, is on IR right now, is out for the season. Wide receiver. Saints desperately need wide receivers. And they also got a 7th rounder the following year. In other words, they traded nothing. Don't tell me they're trading draft capital. Stop it. Anyone else who is going to be in the comment stream, give you a heads up. If you're in the comment stream talking about the Saints giving away, quote unquote, giving away draft capital, I'm just not showing your comment because it's moronic. I love you. Thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. We want you to come back, comment as much as you want. I'm just not showing those comments. That doesn't make any sense. Charles Mangus, good morning. Greenway won, LSU won. For sure. The positive, we're going to get to the positive. You're jumping ahead of me. That's part of Derry's Dime. Thank you for being here, Charles. Gary, I am a little feisty. I have not had a lot of sleep the last 4 or 5 days. I'm just letting you know. I am definitely feisty this morning. So I love you. If I'm curt with you, it doesn't mean I don't love you. I promise I do. Good morning. Offense was better. Defense still having trouble stopping 3rd down situations. Also part of the dime. What else we got going on here? Tony Bufa. Hello, that's from San Luis Obispo in California. Looking forward to a lively discussion. We're glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Oh, boy. Hold on. I promise there's only water in this cup, although I thought about putting something else in here. Brian Cabot, hear me out. Sure, he was good Sunday, but you've seen enough of Rattler. I'm not reading anymore. I'm going to tell you right now. And all this goes for the same people talking about the draft capital. I'm not hearing anything out. Okay. We're not talking bad. I tell it like it is here in the show. I'm going to put the other slide up here, the one with the stats on it. Here's the thing. We ain't talking bad about Spencer Rattler today. I don't feel any differently about whether he's the future of this team. I don't think he's the future of this team. I don't think the future of at quarterback is on this roster right now. But after what Spencer Rattler did yesterday, we are not poor-mouthed on Spencer Rattler. You see his numbers there. Are they spectacular? Absolutely not. However, in fairness, last week, what did I say? I said last week he was the 27th out of 32 when it comes to quarterback rating. Okay, so to be fair, if we're gonna say on this show he was 27th of 32 last week, then I'm gonna say this week that as of right now, before 2 games are being played tonight, there are 4 quarterbacks still left to play. Spencer Rattler, where do you think his rating was this week out of 28 quarterbacks? I'll give you a second if you want to think about it. It's pretty easy to find. Out of 28 quarterbacks that played Thursday and Sunday in the NFL, he was 3rd. There were only 2 quarterbacks better rating-wise than Spencer Rattler. One of them was worse than him last week, Russell Wilson, who threw, 162 touchdown passes yesterday and still lost. The Giants are terrible. Who else? Jared Goff, who I also think is overrated. Whatever. The point is, if we're going to talk when he has an okay day, last week I said he was okay. He didn't do anything to make me happy. I wasn't, a lot of people were jumping on his bandwagon. No, I'm not going to jump on his bandwagon, but I'm certainly not going to put him down today. I thought Spencer Rattler I'm not going to go as far to say phenomenal, but he had an okay day. He had a good day. In fact, better than okay. He had a good day. I'm not passer rating be all end all, but if I'm going to point out when it's bad, I'm also going to point out when it's really good. That's what we do here. UBN 49ers fan said Saints almost had you nervous. BS, my friend. I guarantee you, I don't care what any 49ers fan says, that they were nervous there. Plenty of times. And I had a fan last week getting mad at me because I said the Dome, there were probably 15 to 20,000 empty seats last week. Well, there weren't a whole lot of empty seats yesterday. I'd say there were 4,000 to 5,000 empty seats. So I'd put real attendance, not the one they spout out and give you tickets sold where they tell you there were 70,000 fans there. No, it was probably like 65,000. I would say were in attendance. But the problem is, those 15,000 empty seats from last week, and I'm being nice when I say 15,000, it's probably more like 20 or a little bit higher empty seats. The 15,000 empty seats, yeah, they were filled this week. They were filled by 49ers fans. There were a bare minimum of 15,000 49ers fans, maybe 20. There was a whole lot of red in that dome yesterday. Apathy says Saints are bad, but they're scrappy. Can the Bengals just trade Burrow the Saints? Why? Why would you want Joe Burrow? I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. I love Joe Burrow. Fantastic core. Potential possible if he could stay healthy. But no. This team needs to start young. And honestly, I don't care what Joe Burrow's age is. I have no idea. I'm guessing it's 28-ish, 29-ish. This team needs to start with That's why I'm not happy that Tyler Shuck's 26-year-old rookie, who I don't think is the future of this team. I'll get into that later. No, the Saints this is rebuilding. And first of all, the Bengals are never going to trade Joe Burrow anyway, so it's a moot point. I mean, Joe Burrow might decide, I don't want to go through this anymore at some point in the near future. And if they don't fix their O-line, he really might. Saints aren't going to trade for Joe Burrow. It ain't happening. I've heard that before. No. Edwin Durab, how about defending the short pass? How about not missing tackles? How about rushing the passer effectively? All right, Edwin, first really good comment of the day. No offense to anyone else. All part of my dime. Rob, good morning, Dat Family. Good morning to you. S. Callie, good morning. Go Tigers, absolutely. Let's see. Who dat daddy? Who dat? Go Tigers. Is it your brother-in-law's? Is it your brother's son that plays for Florida? How did he take it? Dylan Smith, again, I should never show these comments without reading them first, but that's what I'm doing. So I'm just letting you know, heads up. Good morning, Rattitude family. I mean, Dattitude. The Rat showed us a little something. Where was the defense this week? Hey, man, I already told you that he played well, but he certainly didn't play well enough for me to rename this show. Let's not get gray. Let's see what else we got going on here. Good morning, Randall. Cecil, good morning. Congrats to the 49ers 12th man, the season ticket holders who sold off their tickets and allowed the lower bowl to be filled with red. Yep. No doubt about it. Kyle Sherman, good morning, Dattitude. The Saints aren't embarrassing. They are a day late and $1 short. Patience. Yep. James Shackle. How about Devon Vele, by the way? All the people, speaking of trades that people didn't like, Devon Vele made his presence known, catching a touchdown pass. Just fine. You're saying, so what? How many other fourth round picks or just doing nothing right now because they got cut already? Jalen Polk will be a part of this team at some point. Chad Gage, good morning. Barry, good morning. No surprises. Nola Man, morning, gents. That Mark Gafsky, good morning. You're picking on Isaac Yadam today? That's where you're going with it? That's who you're going to blame for the loss? Okay. I mean, okay, he wasn't that great, but all right, whatever. Earl's picks defense was brutal, but at least we in every game. There's only been 2 of them. Talk to me next week, Earl. You see that line down there? I guess I should say that way. That way. Saints are 7.5 point dogs. That's going up from 6.5 as they go to Seattle next week. Yeah. I don't think that's the right. I think I did not change the. Can you check that total for me, Gabe? I don't think I fixed the total. I don't think that's the right. Maybe it is. I don't know if that's the right total or not. Whatever. We'll fix it for Wednesday if it's not the right case. One smoke. Don't matter. We'll be picking inside the top 5. Had us going 1-4. Wouldn't be surprised if we're 0-5. Giants are by far the better team. I don't agree with that. I think they're better. It is right. Okay. Thank you, Gabe. That is the right total. 42.5. Giants are better, but you got to realize the Cowboys suck. Okay. I don't think you can put any stock. It's hard to put stock on what these teams are early in the season through 2 games. At some point, you can say they are who we thought they were, right? David +1 hash. Common Sense Monday is here. No surprise for him. By the way, there are some tank comments in here. I'm just not showing them anymore. Okay. I'm letting you know right now. In fact, if you write anything, if you comment, here's what we're doing going forward. If you comment anything that has to do with tanking, not only am I not showing your comment, but you're banned for the rest of the show. I'm not going to actually click on banning you. You can show whatever you want. It's not going to be shown in the show, and your comments won't be shown in the show the rest of the show. If you say anything that has to do with tanking, you're done for the show. There's your warning. And that's not just for today. That's for the rest of time. Okay? I'm just going to ignore you. There you go. That's your one warning. Musette, maybe she's naive, but she's feeling hopeful. It was a loss, but it could have easily been as a win. Coming up in Derry's Dime. We're going to hear from Jim Mora, too. Sean, we must trust the rebuild process. Even in defeat mode, I feel more hopeful than the DA era. There's no doubt about that. Again, I go back to what I said about being a Bengals fan or being a Bears fan, even though the Bengals are 2-0. The point is, at least, I mean, I guess if you're a Bengals fan, sure, you can be hopeful that you'll make the playoffs with Browning being your quarterback. even though he threw 3 interceptions yesterday. You beat Jacksonville. Who cares? Jacksonville's not good. The Bears got blown out of the water, and they got beat the week before on a comeback by a quarterback that Gabe and I have been telling you is no good, J.J. McCarthy, who showed how not good he was last night against just an average Atlanta team. The Vikings aren't a good football team, but they beat the Bears. You could be a Bears fan. To me, I don't think there's a whole lot of hope being a Bears fan. What if you're a Browns fan? How much hope do you have for the future if you're a Browns fan? I don't know. What about Giants? I mean, I guess Jackson Dart gives you some kind of hope. I don't know. There's just other teams that there are less. If you want to go by the hope meter, the Saints are doing what they have to do. So I agree with you. The old man says on another note, Arch looks like donkey poo. Doesn't look good. He does not look good. Marsh. Saints are moving in the right direction? Question mark. Excellent. Expectations of some fans seem to think we should have already been there with a new coach. Exactly. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's 2 games. Calm down. Do that, Daddy. It's a damn shame 49er fans were able to infiltrate the Superdome. Yep. Earl's picks. One thing he could say is Rattler is not the reason we're losing. Amen. 100% true. Lance. Who dat, baby? Ron Hendrickson. Inconsistency is the hallmark of a team with new coaches at all levels, new players on the roster, and holdovers learning this new system. I expect this to get better going forward. Amen. All right. I know I got a ton of comments, and I'm like 20 minutes behind right now, but I got to get to Derry's dime. It's not a long dime today, so trust me, we're going to get to plenty of comments. We'll go as long as you want to go today. As long as you want to go. But I got to give you, if you're new to the show, I give you my commentary. It's early in the show. Usually it's a little bit earlier than this. But I have one piece of the show that is scripted and prepared ahead of time to give you my commentary, a la mentors, Jeff Duncan, Jim Henderson, and the likes of those. So I try to give you, again, sometimes it's too long. Sometimes it's short. Today it's like the 3 Bears. It's just right. What did we tell you today? What did we tell you in the dime today? Before we even started the preseason, we told you what we wanted to see from this mostly young team with a new and inexperienced young coach was growth and improvement. From week 1 to week 18, we want to see this team get better. It's way too early, obviously, to tell you whether we'll get such growth for an entire season. But I think there's little question on Sunday. This Saints team was better overall than they were in week 1. The key word is overall. The defense wasn't better. They allowed a guy who will play the role as perennial backup the rest of his NFL career in Mac Jones. Well, they let him have a field day. But on the other end, I thought Spencer Rattler had his best day as a Saint. He was more aware of the entire field than I've ever seen him. His coaching staff still has fairly tight reins on him, but he was able to overcome to some extent. I thought the play calling and the way Kellen Moore handled the game in general took a giant leap forward from last week. The obvious change was with Alvin Kamara. We said he needed a minimum of 8 to 10 more touches this week, and he carried 21 times versus San Francisco as opposed to the 11 he had against Arizona. Rashid Shaheed was way more involved in the offense on Sunday, and the offensive line did a better job run blocking. Despite the 3 sacks that they had this week from the 1 that they had last week, I thought they were okay in pass blocking, although that certainly needs to improve. Where they struggled again, and it is concerning, was although they had 6 fewer penalties, 7 is too many, and especially that they came in crucial times. 4 for 11 on 3rd down is not good, especially when you give up 8 for 15 to Mac Jones. What would this team have done to the Saints had Brock Purdy and George Kittle played? I think we all know the answer to that. And now you face the reality, okay? No matter how well this team has played, no matter how close they've kept the score over the past 2 weeks, you face the reality of going on the road to play a Seattle team that has looked pretty darn good thus far, looks like maybe a potential playoff team, and then the Buffalo Bills, who just might be the best team in the NFL. In other words, the scenario we told you that was most likely weeks ago, 0-4, is much more likely today. Did you get that parlay in I told you to bet? If you did, you're going to win it. What will that do to this team? Where will they go if that's the case? How will Kellen Moore handle it? Will Spencer Rattler continue to get opportunities if he's 0-10 in his career 2 weeks from now? The Saints haven't won a single football game since, dare I say it, don't click off of this show when I say this, the Saints haven't won a single football game since Derek Carr's career ended in the Meadowlands against the New York Giants. And no matter how positive you are with this football team, even if the goal is simply to see improvement each and every week, which is what it is, the Derry Downer in me has to ask, when will we see the next victory for these Saints? It's one that no one can definitively answer. And I know that is certainly not easy to take. And that's my dime. It's tough to take, man. When you are in a position, no matter, obviously, again, you want to see, we said that we warned you of this before the season started, and this is the reality part of all this. The people who are, and I love you, without hope, life is meaningless. How many times do I have to say that? When you have these pie in the sky hopes, let's be realistic. You know, sitting next to Zach, who tries to be an optimist, Zach Ewing yesterday, and we're talking about what might happen. And then we talked about it on the post-game show, the Saints Insider Show, and what might happen if the Saints start 0-4. Let's assume they're gonna. Okay. And we're talking about what's a realistic record. I mean, I still think it's probably a 4-win team, a 3 or 4-win team. But Zach's saying, man, they might be able to win 6 or 7 games. The optimism. Look, I appreciate optimism, but realistically, going forward, what do you think this team can do? If they start 0-4, that means they have, even my limited Shaw Mass skills tell me they have 13 games left after that. 13 games left if they start 0-4. To win 7 games, they'd have to have a winning record the rest of the way. Go 7-6. If you think that's possible, good for you. I love that you're optimistic, but realistically, what would be more realistic? Like 5-8, 4-9. Saints only have 4 home games after week 6. 4. That's all they have left. 4 home games. Half of their home schedule is done by October the 12th. It's not lend for a team, this young team, to win 7 or 8 games. Again, the goal in the long term, the grand scheme of things, is to get better every week from week 1 to week 17. So far in this early part of the season, they have accomplished that, in my opinion. You look at these numbers. Spencer Rattler, not only was he 25 of 34, but that came after a start where he was one of his first 7, I believe. He was incomplete on 6 passes in a row. But then he was complete. He completed 14 passes in a row. And at another point in the game, he completed 9 passes in a row. The problem is, Mac Jones was pretty similar. At one point in the game, Mac Jones and Spencer Rattler had combined to complete 36 of 40 passes at one point. 36 of 40. Rattler finished the game completing 22 of his final 24 passes. Pretty impressive. The problem is they're still not letting the reins go on him. Okay. He was a little bit more free on Sunday. And again, the passer rating shows you that he did a good job. Still afraid to make a mistake. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Anyway, I'm just saying, look, there's a lot of reasons to have hope for this team, but it is going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be torture, but it's not going to be, probably not going to be a whole lot of fun going through this rebuilding this year, because look, in the end, what's going to happen? All right, I'm going to jump ahead to some of these comments here, and I'm just going to try to get to some. I know we're way behind here. Charles Schulman, we need receivers to catch balls. Rattler was better for sure. Jeff Haspel, complete agreement. It could be a lot worse. Bart Prudhomme says, Rattler, oh, well, I should have clicked on this first. I should have read it first. Rattler is a joke, and as well as the coach, blah, 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 blah. It's not a joke, man. Again, I'm going to give credit when credit is due. And Bart, you can hate all you want, but He's played way better than I expected. Now, does that, again, I don't necessarily think that, not necessarily, I don't think that means he's the future of this franchise at quarterback. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Spencer Rattler has been terrible. Spencer Rattler has nothing to do, in my opinion, with this loss yesterday for sure. I mean, last week they only scored 13 points, and they missed a chance there at the end. You could say whatever you want. So if you want to blame him partially for last week, fine. But you can't blame him at all for yesterday. I thought he played almost as well as he could play. It was his best game as a Saint, in my opinion. Gabe's going to come on later on and tell us what he thinks. I got to hear from quite a few more of you. Cedric Bolo. Is it Bolo? I'm sorry. I know I'm butchering your last name. I apologize, Cedric. I should know that name. Good morning. He's had enough with Juwan Johnson, oversized, overpaid wide receiver. No more Isaac Got him. He's a number 4 corner at best. What do you, first of all, with Isaac Got him, what are you going to do? I mean, that's what you have. It's that you don't have any choices. You brought him back because you don't have any choices. It's not like you have choices. And speaking of not having choices, I got an email on the same thing, Cedric. And I'm not getting on just you for saying this. What do you want at tight end? I mean, he's not overpaid. I think it was the 16th, 15th, 16th highest paid tight end in the league. He's played better than that in my opinion. Yeah, he dropped a couple of balls yesterday. Absolutely. Dropped one that went literally right through his hand. Right. You see where my hands are? That hole in my hands? It went right through that. He dropped one. No question. But he also made an incredible, insane catch. By far the best catch of the day yesterday, at least in the Saints game. It is what it is. I mean, what do you want the Saints to do anyway? I mean, what are your other options at tight end? Come on, man. Come on. Christopher, we're going 0-4 for sure. I'm not ready to say for sure, but I don't know. It ain't good. Apathy says Carolina is worse than the Saints. Jeff Haspel says go Ravens. Okay. Again, got to go down here. I got to start moving. I got to get closer to the. I got to start getting closer to the present. William, again, they traded a 4th round pick to Denver. That was for Vele. That wasn't for the trade they made this weekend. They traded a 4th round pick to Denver. Yeah. They traded a 4th round pick to a guy who scored a touchdown yesterday. Jesus. What is wrong with y'all? Seriously. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Trying to move on. Again, I'm trying to get closer to the present here. Stephon Wells, rebuilding. Absolutely. That's what people don't remember. They got to remember. Ray says, got a young quarterback and young coach trying to build something. A lot of vets are on their way out. No doubt. There's no doubt. Let's see what else we got here. Again, I'm trying to, if I skip your comment, if I haven't shown you and I skip it, I didn't mean to, I promise. I'm just trying to get closer to the present. Christopher, we have no pass rush now. Chase Young always hurt. That is definitely a concern. Mark is going to defend his guy, the Rat. Played well his first 2 games. I'd say he definitely played well yesterday. I wouldn't go as far to say he played well in game 1. He played okay. But again, I don't disagree with you. It's not Rattler's fault. Group, he missed 2 chip shot field goals. Man, you can't miss those games. Those kicks. And y'all getting on Juwan Johnson. Y'all crazy. It's crazy. Crazy. What else we got here as I go down? Who dat? Daddy. Rattler played very well yesterday. Period. I agree. Preacher man, salute. Cardiac Saints? I don't think so. I love you, man, but I don't think they're cardiac. Next week, I don't want to give any spoiler alerts, but next week ain't going to be cardiac. Again, trying not to give spoiler alerts, but I think next week's going to be eye-opening. Not in a good way. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think so. Where do we go? Keith Joyner. Hello from West Monroe, Louisiana. Well, we thank you for being a member of the Dattitude family. You know, you can find us. I don't know what's going on. There we go. You can find us on YouTube. We would love if you did that. Where are we at here? I want to show this comment. Sean says Fuaga looked like he needed to get healthy before they put him back out there. Maybe so. I can't disagree with you. What else we got here? Yeah, I did say in my dime. I did say it. I'm just saying it's a fact, Lance. It's a fact that they have not won since Derek Carr last played for this team. Not that he was a member of this team. They haven't won since he last played for this team. Just saying. Just saying. And you know, the Big Sean Carr also lost to the same Panthers we see today. No, he lost to the Panthers that went like 4-5 down the stretch. By the way, I hate to tell you this, but the Panthers are better than the Saints right now. Don't tell anybody I said that. Shh. Lance, you're not really still saying 10 wins. Come on, man. Come on, man. All right, look. I want to get to some of these clips that I got. Kellen Moore. I got clips from Kellen Moore, Spencer Rattler, and I had one from Jim Moore. What happened to it? Where did it go? I'm going to find it in just a minute. But anyway, I got clips from the two main guys from yesterday. And I think it's important to play in here. And I like what Kellen Moore had to say yesterday. Now, I ran a little bit longer clip than usual. Excuse me. It's a minute and 27 seconds. However, that being said, I think what he says is important here. It's not just typical coach speak either. You know, it's great that we played better and that was close. But who was it that you played to win the game? And the Saints, look, close isn't good enough for them. Great. Is it going to get better? I don't know. Kellen Moore. Minute 27. We'll be back on the other side.
There's pain just with losing again, another short one, but it really comes down to we got to do more of what winning football teams do. We got to play better in situational football. We got to pounce on opportunities when they're presented, and we got to give ourselves a better chance. And so there's too much good in there to miss these opportunities. And so we got to play better, faster, learn from these things, and go from there. For us, we got to put ourselves in better situations. We can't be in these third and longs, and then when the opportunity presents itself, we just got to play clean football. We got to have everyone on the same page.
What did you learn about the football team in the first two games?
Yeah, through two games, we have a great group of guys that work their tail off. Their play style, you can't take advantage or assume those sorts of things. We got everything we need, but we have to play cleaner football, and we have to play and do what winning teams do in each and every moment, from the beginning of the game all the way to the end. Every play matters, and we can't take it for granted. Yeah, our guys are competing. I think it hurts. It hurts when you lose games like this, and that's how it's supposed to feel. It's not supposed to. There's no feel good moments out of this. There's plenty of positives, but you got to focus on winning and really focus on. Hey, the last drive, yes, absolutely. But there's so many opportunities from the first 3.5 quarters that had a huge impact on winning this game. We had plenty of opportunities to take advantage of them, and we didn't.
Here's the thing, though, and he mentions this, and I'm glad he did mention it. There's a lot of people who are agreeing with me today that what you want to see from this team is we're going to say it again. You want improvement from week 1 to week 17. But one thing I do have a problem with, no matter if the team they're just not talented enough, you can't make the mistakes that a team is making when you have a chance to win a game you're not supposed to win. 20 penalties in 2 weeks. I don't care if it's week 1 and 2 of a new regime. I don't care if there's there's X amount of players who are new to this team and are still learning, whatever. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for 20 penalties in 2 games. You can't do it. David +1 says Saints-Bears game will be close. If it was in the Dome, they might have a chance to get it. Miami game might be the first win. Miami's not as bad as you think they are. And that's why, you know, Lance, I love you. 10 wins. You have the same math skills as me. But I'm going to say this now. And again, maybe I'll wear some other jersey. I mean, Gabe's going to buy a Saints jersey and wear it on the air and then give it to someone if the Saints win 10 games. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I don't know. Maybe I'll shave my head. I don't know. But there is 0.0 chance now that the Saints will win 10 games. I thought it was like 0.5% before. It's like now 0.0. They're not going to win the next 2 games. So to win 10 games, let's be realistic. I mean, come on. This is a show based in reality. To win 10 games, that means the Saints, if they go 0-4, which they're going to do, they'd have to go 10-3 down the stretch with the 32nd ranked quarterback room in the NFL. Come on, man. Come on, man. If you got to pick one, Chad Gage is much closer at 3-14. That actually might be on the nose. Who dat daddy? You're realistic. Besides this team beating themselves, both of those games are winnable. You know what? That leads me into, well, I'm not going to be able to play it here because it's still spinning. So I'm having issues with the Jim Moore clip, but that's okay. But I'll tell you what it was going to say. It says, remember the old clip from Jim Moore? And again, I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to leave it in here. That way I can show it whenever I want. It was a clip. Remember, for those of you old like me, if you're not old like me, you're not going to remember this. 1987. Saints come back from the strike. It's the first game with the real players. Saints play the San Francisco 49ers. They lose one pretty similar to how they lost yesterday. Okay. The difference was the 49ers were at full strength and the Saints were at full strength. Yesterday, the Saints were pretty close to full strength and the 49ers weren't close to full strength. They were missing their quarterback and they were missing their stud tight end, who's one of the top 3 tight ends in the league, hands down. So what Jim Moore said back in 1987, 38 years ago, is applicable today. We're not close to the 49ers, and people shouldn't say we're close. But if you want to say we're close, and close don't mean bleep. Remember that comment? And the bigger problem is if you can't win games that you have a chance to win that were winnable, quote unquote winnable. Was it a winnable game? Of course it was. The Saints were within shouting distance throughout the whole game, had the ball at the end with a chance to go down there and score. You know, if I'm going to say anything negative about Spencer Rattler, and again, there's not a whole lot to say negative about Spencer Rattler. I don't even want to. I don't want to say anything negative about Spencer Rattler, but that last drive, that was a mess. Partly because the O-line stunk too. There's so many just issues. But when you can't win the winnable games, what makes you think they're going to have any chance to beat teams that are superior to them? And going down the stretch, I'm not even talking about real 10 wins. Come on, man. 10 wins ain't happening. But to even talk about 7. And I'll start making a graphic and so we could see the schedule going forward. I meant to do that today. I ran out of time. But where do you see 5? Because the teams you think that the Saints can beat, they're marked off as a win from the other team's fans already. Giants, they're marked, hey, well, we know we can win in week 5. The Patriots, we know we can win in week 6, excuse me. The Bears, we know we can win in week 7 against Saints at home. So all these games that you're marking up as victories, so are the other team. Ray says 5 to 6 wins is very possible, and that would be okay. It would be okay. Actually, 5 to 6 wins would be pretty decent. And Brian, you know what? 4-13 is best bet. They could win. They're not winning the 2 Carolina. They are not sweeping the Carolina. Not happening. They're not sweeping Carolina. Ain't going to happen. Beat Atlanta, beat the Jets. You think they're going to beat the Jets the way? Did you watch the game last week? Don't watch yesterday. The Bills are best. See what the Bills did to the Jets yesterday? That's what they're going to do to the Saints in 2 weeks. Spoiler alert. Look at the Jets from 2 weeks ago. Although Justin Fields is banged up. I don't know if he'll play. If Justin Fields isn't playing, who knows? Although his backup is what? Tyrod Taylor, I think. So I don't know. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. That game's not till Christmas week anyway. Preacher Man wants to know what's up with Staley. Doesn't blitz enough for him. That's not what his defense is. I don't think that's not the problem that they had yesterday. They weren't blitzing. The problem was that they couldn't cover these receivers with a sheet. They just couldn't. Glenn Doherty says, good teams hang in close games and figure out a way to win. We hang in and do the opposite. 15 more to surpass the L's of the. Oh, that ain't happening. Come on, man. I don't know if that's your cute way of saying the tank, but you're going to get your comments won't be shown in the show if you're saying lose on purpose. You missed it earlier. You put anything that even kind of relates to tanking, you're going to get just ignored. That's the nice way to put it. Chad says Rat played very well, but did hurt us in missing Olave wide open in the end zone. Yes. Causing a kick with the. Yeah. So in other words, Chad, you got a good point. I think it was Mark Satanovich earlier who was talking about, you lead him down the field and he missed a chip shot. Well, you know what? He wouldn't have had to miss a chip shot had the Rat made the throw he was supposed to make. The throw he threw way behind Olave in the end zone should have been touchdown. And then, of course, Alvin Kamara's fumble. You just look, AK just trying to do too much. He just did. That's all. That's what it was. He tried to do too much. I want to get to Spencer Rattler here. Comments from Spencer. Look, again, I think he's feeling more comfortable as the starting quarterback now. I mean, you got to remember, he just found out he was a starting quarterback, 3 weeks ago? I mean, it's tough, man. Going forward, at what point is he not going to get a chance anymore? I feel for the dude. I really do. I mean, at this point, I got to say, if he keeps playing like this, I don't think you can. I'm going to have to revise what I said. I'm going to have to tell you I was wrong. Because if he keeps playing like this, I don't think you can. It wouldn't be fair to yank him going into the Giants game. And I'm going to tell you why. Again, if he keeps playing like this, if he keeps improving, if he plays like he played yesterday, next week against Seattle. Now, I'm worried that Seattle's going to be a lot like the Packers game last year. Remember the Monday night game when he went on the road and he was way overmatched? I'm worried that's what next week's going to be like. I hope I'm wrong. But if he improves again next week at Seattle and plays Buffalo okay against Buffalo, I mean, you got to be fair. You can't let him just go out and get the crap knocked out of him and play as well as he did, and then not give him a chance to win against the team that the Saints can beat, that the Saints would probably only be, 2 or 3 point underdog. Gabe, if I know there's no look ahead on DK, but if you can find some kind of look ahead somewhere, if there's a line out there somewhere that tells us what the Saints-Giants line is right now, I'd like to know what it is, if you could find it. Meanwhile, I'm going to play Spencer Rattler's comments from yesterday. Interesting comments. A minute and 3 seconds. We'll come back and talk about them on the other end.
Man, we're close, though. We're close. It's these games come down to the wire, and got to do what winning teams do. That's what Kellen was telling us, and if that's cleaning up, I thought our procedure was much better this week. Didn't have as many penalties. We moved the ball well all game. Just got to start faster, in those first 3 or 4 drives, and, that changes the game. So we got to start good on first down, stay in third and manageable. I think those drives, we were in third and long a lot of the time, and it's hard to convert on those downs when they're playing with depth, in third and long. But staying ahead of the chain. So I think that's the key.
Spencer, would you say that this is probably your best game here?
I mean, yeah, but you want to win at the end of the day. We play this game to win. We play together. We battle every week, and we're so close as a team. I think we're doing the right things throughout the week. Our coaches have us prepared. We got to go out there and execute at a high level from start to finish. But I think there's growth in all of our games. But just got to keep building. Got to keep building. It's that simple.
Yeah, you got to keep building. 100%. I mean, I agree. Everything he said was true. And again, if he keeps getting better going forward, then I want to see what he can do. I mean, what I said before in the preseason? I thought Chuck was the better choice. I thought Chuck would be starting by week 5 if they picked Rattler. Maybe I'm saying there's a decent chance I'm wrong. Again, if Spencer Rattler keeps getting better You can't pull the plug on him in week 5. That wouldn't be fair to him. Pull the plug on him against the Giants, a game that the Saints can win. I still believe this was a setup from the get-go. We'll find out one way or the other. I think this was a setup that Kellen Moore says, hey, we go 0-4, and we make a switch before the Giants game and give Tyler Shuck a chance to win. But I don't think you could pull the plug on him if he keeps playing like this. Again, some positive things to talk about from yesterday. Again, as we move on, well, there's a couple things I want to. There's one comment here that's important to talk about, and it's from a while ago. I know this is about 15 minutes ago. Paul Laporte, why do players keep slipping on the quote-unquote grass at the Superdome? Let me tell you something. I was talking about this yesterday with Jeff Duncan after the game when I went and did the Saints Insider show. I don't understand that it's a new turf. I guess it's the Super Bowl turf. I don't know. But just standing on it down there, it's literally like a rock. Don't get me wrong. And I told this to Jeff. It looks like grass better than any turf I've ever seen in my life. Even when you're standing on it and you look at it, it looks like grass. But when you're walking on it, it feels like some kind of mushy. Remember shag carpet from the 70s? That's kind of what it feels. It's terrible. I don't know how they play on that crap. It's absolutely horrible. I don't know how they play on. I really don't. So in answer to your question, why do they keep slipping on? Because it's terrible. I hope they do something with it. I don't know. Big Sean, yeah, I hear you. Trips him out how Juwan caught that TD pass. Just again, the catch of the day. Been missing open pass thrown dead in his chest. Look, I think he's only really had 2 drops the entire season thus far. He had 2 yesterday. I don't think he had any drops the week before that. Y'all could call that touchdown pass that he was supposed to catch over and over again. You say he was supposed to catch. It's not a drop. First of all, even if you think he should have caught it, it's definitely 100% not a drop. Easy catches are the hardest, UBN says. Sometimes they are. Lance says, Rattler should have given Olave a better ball, but the number one receivers would have caught that. Absolutely not. I had this debate yesterday with Zach. Zach got mad at me when I said this, and I'll say it again. He's probably going to listen after the fact, so he can listen to this. There isn't a receiver I don't care what anybody says. Go back and watch it again. There's not a receiver in the NFL that would have caught that pass. I mean, look at it in full speed. Don't look at it in slow motion either. Look at it in full speed. Olave's going this way, or I guess he's going this way on the screen. The pass is well behind him, and just as Olave gets his hand on him, he gets one hand on it, the front part of a hand on it. No one's making that catch. Maybe OBJ on Monday Night Football, and that's about it. Silvergate is trying to steal Joe Madden jerseys, Joe Madden shirts from the old Cubs days. We need to try not to suck jerseys. Ray says, D-line is what shocks him. Was supposed to be strong. 3-4 is not working. It's 2 games, man. It's not only is it only 2 games. I thought they played very well last week. So it is what it is. They played very well in week 1. They regressed a bit in week 2. You can't say a 3-4 is not working after 2 games. Come on, man. I love y'all, but some of the stuff y'all say is whack. I mean, whack. Yeah. Preacher Man says Ruiz at best a backup making starter money. I mean, ain't no denying that. What are you going to do? Apathy says it's Kubiak's revenge game. I don't. Y'all putting too much credit in Kubiak's bucket, I think. Jason Benson says, does Chase Young make a big enough difference in the pass rush? Maybe help these defensive backs out. Yeah, I think he does. I'd like to know, are we going to ever find out? You're paying him all this money. That's one of the problems I have. I mean, you pay him all this money and you don't see? Come on. Charles Mangus, the Panthers are not better right now. Maybe, no. The Panthers are 100% better than the New Orleans Saints right now. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with me, but that is my take. I tell you the way that I think it is, and I don't even think it's all that close, to be honest. The Panthers offensively are definitely better than the Saints. That'll be interesting down the line, by the way. Say whatever you want. I think the Panthers are definitely better than the Saints. Hope I'm wrong. Musette wants to know, what are my thoughts? And I brought this up earlier, so if you want to hear, I'll talk about it again. It's worth talking about again. What are my thoughts on trading for wide receiver Jalen Polk, who is on season-ending injury reserve? I thought it's not even a gamble. It's a why not trade. It's a why not trade. You trade in case you don't know this and you missed it over the weekend, I think it happened Friday. The Saints traded a 2027 sixth-round pick to the Patriots for Jalen Polk, who has been a bust as a second-round pick a few years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years, or whatever it was. And he's on IR this year. And so he got traded to the Saints, so he's not going to play this year. But the Saints traded a 2027 sixth-round pick, and they got back, not only did they get Polk, but they got a 2028 seventh-round pick. They basically traded nothing. So I like the move. I like the trade. Gabe says there are no odds anywhere on the Giants game. Okay. But if I had to guess right now, the Giants would be a very slight favorite. They were a slight favorite before. I don't think that was changed. 2.5. Gabe says, I think it's probably more like 1, whatever. 1.5, 2.5. That's basically the same, almost the same number. Not a field goal favorite, but the Giants would be a very slight, especially after scoring all those points yesterday. David says, I said 0.0. 0.0 chance that the Saints win 10 games. 0. In fact, if there were negative percentages, I would give them a negative percentage that they win 10 games this week. Lance says the Saints have 0 superstars, talented but no superstars. Only AK even can be in superstar combo. Lance, if the Saints win 10 games, we'll get together and I will absolutely buy you some drinks. There you go. No question. Let's see where else we're going here. Keith Rodriguez says the Saints will win the next game. Want to bet? No, they're not. I mean, I'm not going to say 0.0 like I say on 10 wins with they ain't beating the Seahawks. A couple more real quick. Ahmad's talking about Ahmad Hassan says he went to that Jim Mora game when he was 12. People either forgot about that or they weren't allowed back then. It's probably true. That's why I qualified it with if you're old like me. Bruce Chappelle, defense was the issue yesterday. Can't even stop Mac Jones. It's a problem. And Mac Jones looked pretty good. If you're a 49ers fan right now, okay, and I guess you're probably the only 49ers fan watching this, I'm guessing. But if you're a 49ers fan right now, how concerned are you that you allowed Rattler to be the third best passer rating quarterback yesterday and that Kamara rushed for 1 yard shy of 100 yards? I mean, the Saints had a pretty decent day. I don't know. Mal says predicting outcomes is futile. No, it's not. Let's talk about how some of the young guys play like Kelvin Banks. I thought Kelvin Banks was not as good as he's been in the preseason. But that being said, I don't think predicting outcomes is futile, however you want to pronounce it. That's what we do. That's what we always do. It's only futile if you think your team sucks. If you think your team's going to be 14-3, then predicting outcomes is fun. I mean, of course it is. I mean, if you're losing, you don't want to predict outcomes. Give me a break. Big Sean says, winners find ways to win and losers find ways to lose. Shot ourselves in the foot both games. Here's UBN's comment, by the way. Very bleepity bleep concerned. He thought the defense would win the game. Never thought the Saints would get over 13 points, which he said in his prediction, right? Yeah. Brian says he's a Jets hater, so he wants everyone to beat him. Well, I certainly want the Saints to beat him. Reginald says they let another game get by them on defense was horrible. You can't let teams off the hook. P.S. Dennis Green's speech is a classic. You let them off the hook. You want to crown them? Crown their asses. They did let them off the hook. I don't think you could say the defense was horrible. I think that's a bit strong. They weren't good, but horrible's a little strong. I save horrible for like really bad. Like it's gonna be really bad to be horrible. Preacher Man says, here we go. They only have 6 tough games. You told me they were going to win week 1 and week 2, Preacher Man. You're saying they only have 6 tough games left. Buffalo, Seahawks, Tampa 2 games, Atlanta, still there's hope for a winning record. I'm not trying to burst your bubble. Again, I'm not telling you not to have hope. By all means, please have hope. Please have hope. There is no chance for a winning record. I said 0.0. You're telling me if they go 0-4, you're thinking. It sounds like you're thinking like me. They're going to go 0-4. You're telling me they're going to go 9-4 down the stretch? No. Come on, man. No. Ain't happening. I mean, I don't. Again, there's still a great. Not only do I think there's a great chance, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to continue to improve each week, and I think when we come here in week 18 for the season wrap-up show here in Dattitude. When we get to January 5th, the show on January 5th, 2026, or whatever day it's going to be, I think we'll be talking positively about this Saints team, even though they'll have a terrible record. You see these NFC South standings on here. It's not going to be pretty when we get to the end of the season. Just saying. Michael Elliott. Could have, would have, should have. That's what he's talking about here. Could have, would have, should have. David's got a good question. If I think the Rat is doing well, it's not fair to pull him if he continues to improve. What if they go 1-7? Hold on, you're getting me verklempt. That's what happens when I have a show with no guest. I gotta drink water during the show here. What happens if they go 1-7? Is it not worth? Yeah, I didn't say that. Write it out. Should they write it out with? No. No, you're asking me what. I just don't think it's. I'm just going to game 5, David. I think that if he continues to improve next week and the week after, talking about Spencer Rattler, if Spencer Rattler plays well again next week, and he plays well again in week 4 against Buffalo, they're not going to win those games. But if he plays well and the offense plays okay, then I just don't think it's fair to pull him against the Giants, a game that's winnable. You got to give the kid a chance to win. I know he's going to be 0-10, and that's something about that 10 number. It's not just because it's double digits. The Shaw dude can figure out that 10 is double digits. It's not just that number. But if he's 0-10, you got to give him because honestly, if you once you put Shuck in, I don't think you're going back unless Shuck is just terrible. And Shuck would have to be terrible. So once you make that switch, you're making the switch. I'd still be surprised, very surprised, honestly, if it doesn't happen some point in the near future. That being said, I'm about fairness, man. And if you made the choice to make Spencer Rattler your starter, in all fairness, you can't just throw him to the Wolves here, play him for 4 games, let him get, because I just don't think the next 2 weeks will be pretty. If it's not because of him that they lost, then give him one more chance in week 5. And then if they lose that one, then I think you got to make the switch. So that's my answer. But I don't know, man. Chad Gage says he agrees. If he continues to play like this, he does deserve the chance to get his first win. He made him wrong. He made me wrong. And he's glad about it. And so am I. I'm the same way. I'm glad I'm wrong about Spencer Rattler has absolutely played better than I expected. By the way, all you, Ray, I'm not going to show the comment, but all you Shedeur Sanders lovers, I didn't hear a lot of outrage yesterday. The Browns got their butts whipped by the Ravens. You know who came in for Joe Flacco at the end? That would be Dylan Gabriel. It's 3 for 3. I haven't heard anyone say over the last at least 2 weeks,
Saints should have drafted Shedeur Sanders.
I haven't heard anyone say that. So if Spencer Rattler's done anything right, he's at least done that. I haven't heard that stupid crap. What else we got here is, again, I got to talk about it. Gabe's going to come on in just a minute, and we got to talk about LSU and Tulane, and then we're gonna wrap it up with Saints. Gabe says he's saying whack. Some of you peeps are whack. It's actually gotten a little bit better since I called him out on it. Mal, Panthers fans don't even agree. Get out of here. Shoe fly. Get out of here. Panthers fans don't agree with that. Panthers fans, they don't have hope for the future because they've got like mediocre staring them in the face for who knows how long. The Panthers are better than the Saints. Sorry. Panthers should have won that game yesterday. Came back. Did a nice little comeback. Let's see. Hector Garcia, just joining late. His opinion is our success will always depend on the third down efficiency on both sides of the ball. Nice point. Also, thinks Spencer Rattler is one of the few that has improved from week 1 to week 2. Should we look for another kicker? I've never been a fan of Blake Grupe. I got to be honest. I kind of shut up because all my colleagues were telling me how great he was in preseason, and he didn't miss a kick at the end of last year. And I think the upside, when you're talking about a team in the grand scheme of things, Blake Grupe might be an average kicker who's going to be more consistent than a guy like Charlie Smith. But I think the potential with Charlie Smith is the ceiling is higher. And with a team that's not going to win a lot of games anyway, let me see somebody like that. I'm not a fan of Blake Grupe. So your answer is, should we look for another kicker? I don't think you need to look for one because I think one's in the building. I think Charlie Smith's on the practice squad. Is it Smith or Smythe? I think it's Smith. It's spelled Smyth, but I think it's pronounced Smith. Anyway, regardless, I think that's who the kicker should be. Never been a fan of Blake Grupe because I think there's been times when he's been inconsistent. Okay. But then he did show me some things. He kicks it further than I thought he would, but I don't know. So anyway, what are y'all talking about, Trey? Oh, Trey Olave. Okay, there's some comments in the stream about Trey. No one is trading Chris Olave. Okay, what would you get for Chris Olave? You'd get a Christmas card and maybe a pack of sausage. If you're lucky. Oh, they might throw in the buns if they're brats. You traded him to Green Bay. Come on, man. You're not trading Chris Olave. You wouldn't even kind of get his worth for him. Stop it. I mean, I got emails on that. Again, I got multiple emails and direct messages over the past 3 days, really the past 5 days. And I'm just not talking. I mean, I used to show and talk about every comment and email I get. I don't have to anymore, and I don't. It's just silly. Sometimes it's just silly talk. Y'all can talk amongst yourselves and hate these guys, and they may, Red Bean brings in callers, and callers say all these wild crap. Don't get me wrong, by the way. I love my friend Devin Snow and Hold the Mayo and whatever. He's got callers, and one day, who knows, maybe we'll have callers too. I don't know. But you can't talk about stuff that doesn't make sense. That goes into the file of doesn't make sense category. So whoever said it earlier, cut Juwan Johnson. Are you crazy? Not only the fact that the Saints paying him $10 million a year, you can argue whether that's overpaying or not. I don't think it is. But you don't cut a guy. You don't have a tight end. We don't know when the hell Taysom Hill or Foster Moreau is coming back. They might not come back this year. Taysom Hill may never come back and play again. Possible. You want to cut Juwan? There are actually people who want to cut Juwan Johnson. Come on, man. And What are you upset about with Chris Olave yesterday? What did anyone see from Chris Olave that would upset them about what they saw yesterday? Because he didn't catch a pass when he was going across the end zone that Rattler threw like 4 feet behind him and he barely got a hand on? That's making you want to cut Chris Olave or trade him to get nothing? If you think you get first of all, if you think you get a second round pick, and my answer would be no, I wouldn't trade Chris Olave for a second round pick because I think that he's still your number one receiver. You don't trade your number one receiver for a second round pick, in my opinion. Depends on where it came from. If it came from a crappy team that was first, this is a pipe dream, by the way. This would never happen. No one would give you a second round pick. Okay. But if a crappy team that gave you a second round pick, so which meant it might be like along the lines of where they drafted Shuck, like a 40th pick of the draft, then yeah, maybe I'd consider it. But it's not going to happen. But if you're talking like a bottom second round pick, no. You could trade that. You wouldn't get it anyway. It's not happening. Earl, who are our picks for tonight? I'll ask Gabe what he thinks, but we'll get to that. Parker TV Live. We will get better. Believe that. I think they're already getting better. Oh, by the way, we've also got a couple comments in about the demise of the Kansas City Chiefs. Y'all are crazy. Big Sean says he's still sticking with 9 wins. Sean wants to know what's worse, the AFC South or the NFC South? The AFC South is worse. As bad as the Saints are. You can shake your head, Gabe, till the cows come home. There's only one team that's even average in that division. The other 3 stink. I know the Colts are 2-0. Whoop-de-doo. They'll turn back into the Colts. The pumpkin will explode very shortly. That's my answer. All right. Let's see. Apathy. You're not getting a lemon Hubic pie for Chris Olave at this point. I don't know, man. If you got a lemon Hubic, no. All right, we got to get going here. Daryl Hayden, good morning. It was almost Dattitude Monday. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I was never calling today Dattitude. Sorry. He had his chance, and he's not succeeded. All right. I'm going to bring on Gabe before I start talking college football because I want to get into Brian. Again, I'm going to finish the show. You could still talk about the Saints. We obviously welcome those comments, but I want to move on a little bit. I want to talk about the weekend, other things that happened this weekend. More specifically, I'm going to get right into LSU. Again, I was at the Tulane game. I think all of my new friends at Tulane. It was a wonderful experience. I'll get to that in a minute. But Monday morning here with Gabe Henderson. First of all, how was your weekend, sir?
It was good. An enjoyable weekend. And I just want to start with
You went to Oklahoma City, right?
I did go to Oklahoma City.
How was that?
It was fun. It's a nice little city.
Even though we don't like the Thunder, but that's okay.
I do.
Oh, you don't care.
I just want to start. I want to start by saying the Saints should have traded for Shedeur Sanders or drafted Shedeur Sanders. Sorry, you said you hadn't heard in a while, so I couldn't pass up on the opportunity to.
I'm glad you passed up on the opportunity because the Saints need another backup quarterback on their roster. They already have 2 of them, and then they have a third. And who knows? But yeah,
I also just I'll chime in on the Saints real quick. I mean, I thought Spencer Rattler played well. I thought he showed some good signs. But here's the thing: we're gonna reach. Good morning, Charles. We're gonna reach a point where if the Saints continue to rack up losses, something is going to have to change.
Yeah,
and I agree. The easiest thing to change in this scenario is the quarterback. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
but that's
well. Hold on, real quick. Since you said that, I'm going to give you I like giving you gifts every now and then because here's my gift to you this morning. We told you earlier. We'd let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? Well, Gabe didn't ask, but I know someone out there did, and I thank you for asking. After their complimentary valuation of your company, If you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick, Braden, Ronnie, Melton, the folks at Evangeline will begin an extensive auction process from established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. And they will maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on that platform. There ain't a company out there like them in this area. Or at least none that I know of. None that I care about. None with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. And it's not what you could get for Chris Olave. What's the most important thing?
It's the rest of your life.
Absolutely. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com.
By the way, I think if you were shopping Chris Olave, Evangeline Securities would get you a better return than Mickey Loomis would.
That's a hot take. Poor Mickey. He's just misunderstood.
Yeah, Lance said it too. He said, can Evangeline Securities evaluate the Olave trade?
UBN says hello. All right. Let's get into the whole Brian Kelly thing. Okay. And I did not, I ran out of time. I meant to download the clip and I just literally ran out of time. But for those of you who live under a rock and didn't see the whole Brian, it's a reporter, a broadcast TV reporter from WAFB in Baton Rouge asked the question. Now, hold on. I do have the exact question he asked because I typed it in. Where is it? Here it is. The question was, and now it's not here. It's on my phone. And I want to get this exactly right. So I'm going, I don't want to here it is.
You don't want to paraphrase. You want to get it verbatim.
Quote unquote. What are you seeing with your offense? That was the question. Now, the problem partly is that it came out right when Brian Kelly stepped at the podium. So he probably had prepared himself that he was going to get this question. He prepared himself with rage. First, I'm going to ask you, Brian Kelly went off on this dude. Mm-hmm. And again, I said it in the open. My opinion is this. Was it an overreaction? Sure, it was the overreaction. But I've been around coaches enough to know that sometimes, A, they do this on purpose to fire up their own team and to show that his own team, that he has their back. And B, sometimes coaches say things in the heat of the moment when they're, I think Brian Kelly is genuinely pissed that he doesn't think he gets enough respect from the LSU fans in general because they're 3-0. And here we are bitching, and I say we as a collective we, just in general bitching about the LSU Tigers. I mean, what else do you want them to do? What was your reaction?
I was completely unfazed by what Brian Kelly said. I think
why
his
did it get
reaction
blown
is
up?
Justified because it's Brian Kelly yelling and people him as the asshole.
Yeah,
and I mean it's no secret Brian Kelly can be a hothead. He wears his emotion. He always has. He's never shied away from it. I think not only was it kind of a bad question, it was worded pretty poorly. I think any seasoned journalist knows that's not a question that you ask to open up.
This is what I said to Gabe and Rod yesterday, sitting up there talking with them about it before the Saints game yesterday. Here, and I read it verbatim because I wanted everyone to know what it said. But and I wish I had the clip. It was the way he asked the question. It was asked with a snide undertone. Okay, so I probably would have had it too. It's kind of one of those, and I don't know this reporter at all. Again, all I know is he works for WAFB, so I don't know him from Adam. Maybe he didn't mean it in the wrong way. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But that's the first question you're going to ask. You just beat Florida. You're the number 3 team in the country. You have 5 picks of DJ Lagway, 1 for a pick 6, and you're going to say, "What about your offense?" I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, you know me. I've been harping on the offense since week 1. I've been very, very critical since last year. However, if your takeaway from this game was that the offense stinks and that was the number one thing that you come away with, I mean, just keep your mouth shut and ask your question at the end of the press conference, or even wait till today. That's a question that could wait till today.
Right. And Brian Kelly, it could have waited till later in the press conference, like you say.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, he's going to let you ask another question. It's not like he runs in there and runs out. It's not like he takes 6 minutes worth of questions and walks off. No, Brian Kelly, if you watch an entire Brian Kelly press conference, they last sometimes 20 minutes. So you could have asked him a question and then asked him another question later on. You certainly would have gotten in. Or someone else would have probably not made you look like an idiot because someone else probably would have asked the question.
I was going to say, if you don't want to ask the question about the offense, I guarantee you someone else in that room will, because it's definitely a talking point, but it's not the main takeaway from this game.
That's proof that you just want to be on TV because you like jump in to ask that first when you know it's going to get asked. See, for me, I wouldn't ask that question because not that if no one asked it, I would ask it later on, and I wouldn't ask it that way. But I know that's going to get asked, and I'm going to let someone else ask that because I don't want to be
not something that you ask first.
Yeah,
because
Big Sean's,
like I said, if your takeaway from this game was the offense stinks, then I mean they've allowed 10 points in every game they've played.
Exactly.
Their defense had 5 picks against a guy who was a Heisman front runner to start the year. And come on, this is opening win in SEC play. This was a good win for LSU.
Maybe you should just learn to bet LSU and Florida unders, like y'all said. Basically, Brian Kelly said, quote, "We won the game, so shut up." I agree. Earl's Pick says, "I thought it was hilarious, and you can't talk down on our guys when they win." Again, I think that's part of, Gabe, him showing that I got your back to his players.
I completely agree. I think he was slightly pissed. Well, I think slightly pissed off is a bit muted of a reaction there. I think he was upset that his defense wasn't getting the credit that they deserve because let's call it for what it is. This defense is one of the best in the country. And I don't think there's any shying away from that. I mean, yes, DJ Lagway made some ill-advised throws, but for the most part, they looked stellar throughout that whole game. And they really won this game for LSU because it surely wasn't the offense.
Yeah, well, it's something. And I was at the Tulane game, so I did not get to watch the game. I went home and rewatched it when I got home, so I'd be able to talk about it today, which had me staying up late, which is why I've only got a few hours sleep the last few days. But I will say that Sean McDonough said something at the end of the game that really bothered me. And he said, this defense is great, but if they can't play better offense, then they're not going to make the playoffs or whatever. Something along those lines. That is a paraphrasing. I don't know how you can say that. You know what? If your defense keeps playing like this, you can stop everybody. I think you can. Now, can you win a national championship? I don't know. Defense have won championships before. I mean, for Christ's sake, Trent Dilfer won a championship, Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. Am I saying this is the 2000 Ravens defense? No. Am I saying the 1985 Bears defense? No. But I'll tell you what, it's the best defense LSU's had in a long time. And if they keep playing defense like this, I think it will go a long way. And I think they will make the playoffs like this because I think they will beat most teams playing defense like this. We'll see. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the ESPN analytics percentage to win against Vanderbilt next month?
I did not.
Vanderbilt has a 60% chance to beat LSU.
Yeah, okay.
According to ESPN analytics.
That's why those analytics are just stupid. Yep. That's just stupid. By the way, Vandy is who did they play this week? They got somebody.
Played South Carolina. They won.
No. I know they played South Carolina without and Lenore Sells got hurt. They played somebody this week, and they're like a big favorite. I can't remember who it is. All right. Anyway, let's talk overall about real quickly. And I don't want to spend too much time because we're way behind. And I want this show. We got about 15 minutes left in the entire show. LSU playing Southeastern this week. That's going to be a cakewalk. There's not even a line because it's not a Division 1A school. Yep. They don't often put out lines for 1A against non-1A schools. No. But just your general impressions. Look, I thought, again, going back and rewatch it, the offense did struggle. I thought Nussmeier was okay. I don't think he was as bad as everybody said he is. I thought that interception he threw was absurd.
Did you hear Greg McElroy's comment to that?
I did actually. Now, he says you can't do that.
He's like, yeah, you're a fifth-year senior, dude. You can't be making that throw. And I completely agree with him.
Yeah, that was I
did not.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what I liked least about. Yeah. Not only did I not like that was a terrible pass. It was a terrible decision. A terrible pass. Shouldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. But what I didn't like is when he got to the sideline and Brian Kelly chewed his ass out. I did not like his reaction at all. And if you have it on DVR or if you can find it somewhere, go back and watch that because it was kind of blowing him off. And I did not like that reaction at all. And to me, if I'm an NFL scout That's going into the memory bank when it comes time for the NFL draft. You cannot do that. You have to take responsibility. Look, J.J. McCarthy played like crap last night, but when he went to the sideline after a big mistake, he sat there and he listened to O'Connell and stood there like a man and said, I sucked, okay? And I don't like J.J. McCarthy as a quarterback, but I do appreciate how he responded after he screwed up. And he listened to a guy who obviously knows more about him than he does about playing quarterback. And so I think Garrett Nussmeier, look, dude, I don't care if your dad's an OC in the NFL or whatever the hell, you got to go back and show respect for your coach. And I don't think he did that. And that's maybe the first negative thing I say about Garrett Nussmeier on the show. I did not like that. It bothered me and it will stick with me going forward.
I think the thing that bothers me the most is this team is perhaps one of the most talented skill groups in the country on offense, and they can't do anything with it. I need to see them. I mean, they need to come out this weekend and absolutely dominate.
Yeah.
And I need to see something. They can't run the ball. I mean, which this is another thing which I'll get to in a second. They had to put a heavy set onto the field, a heavy formation, and go out of the eye to break off a big run at the end of the game. And that's the first time that they've been able to run the ball this year.
Yeah, it is.
They can't run the
ball. And I didn't see enough of him again on Saturday. I don't know what more you need to do to put him in the game. I mean, put him in the damn game. Well, it can't hurt.
They're not putting dudes in position to succeed.
You just
Chris
can't
Hilton
run with the same
targets.
guy. In today's football game, you know as well as I do, this, except for Derrick Henry, this is not a one-man running back show football game anymore. In very few cases, and even in the Saints case yesterday, I mean, I like that Kendra Miller came in and spotted Kamara, but I don't think he did it enough. They got Kamara more involved. Great. But for LSU, they're just not using anyone else. And you can't do that. You can't play a game and Caden Durham's going to get killed in that way.
Go back and watch their bowl game against Baylor and then watch their game against Florida or even Louisiana Tech.
Right.
The way that the offense is being called is night and day. I mean, it's gotten to a point where it's almost as if the only thing that LSU is run between the tackles and throw quick screens to wide receivers now or quick outs.
I agree wholeheartedly.
They're very rarely are they targeting receivers downfield. They're not getting their guys. I mean, what happened to just having receivers run drags? I mean, these guys, you have 4 guys who run under 4.4. If you guys get these guys, I mean, if they get these guys the ball in the middle of the field and allow them the space to make plays, they will make plays. You need to get Nick Anderson more involved. You need to get Chris Hilton more involved. I think you need to get Aaron Anderson more involved, even though he's been one of the most involved players as a receiver. You need to get the ball into the hands of your playmakers. Nussmeier has not been consistent enough for me, and the play calling has been really bad. And I would be lying if I told you I'm not concerned. Yeah, because I know the talent that this team has.
There's a reason to be concerned, and being concerned is okay, but don't be stupid. Don't have unrealistic expectations. Your team is 3-0, which is somewhere they haven't been in a long time since 2019. So chill out a little bit. Okay. Chill out a little bit. Let's see where they go going for. And they're about to be 4-0 when they play Southeastern. All right. Really briefly, because Mark's got a question to do when I get to Monday Night Football before I'll let you go. And we got about 11 minutes left in the show. I do want to briefly talk about Tulane. This score, and again, I was there. I thank all the people that were so nice to me. But real quick about Tulane, there were a lot of FU Mensa chants going on in the stands, and I don't blame them. And I thought Tulane responded with a quote-unquote revenge game. There was obviously more revenge on the side of Tulane than the guy who's getting $4 million. But I thought this score is nowhere near indicative of how well the Green Wave played on Saturday night. They absolutely pounded Darian Mensa, and they were clearly the better team.
Yeah. I mean, they themselves in a driver's seat for the Group of 5 playoff spot. I think regardless, they have to come out and look competitive against Ole Miss.
Correct.
Ole Miss has looked beatable in the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
They really have. Arkansas gave them a game, and Kentucky even gave them a game. So Tulane's got to capitalize here. And if they can win this game, I think they They put themselves in a really good position.
And if you can't see the screen right now, we have the line for next week's game is up, and I would expect this to go down. I can't see odds makers betting on Ole Miss here. The Tulane Green Wave are 12.5-point underdogs at Ole Miss. I just don't think Ole Miss is all that. So, again, spoiler alert. I don't know that I don't think I'm going to take Tulane to win the game. We'll see. I don't know, but I think they're going to go and represent themselves well. I don't think they're going to go to Oxford and embarrass themselves. I think they will be in that game. Ole Miss, and that's 60.5, by the way, as the total. I think you might have a high flying shootout like Ole Miss had this week against Arkansas. I could easily see it going over that number.
Me too. That's the only thing I'd play. I wouldn't touch this spread because at the end of the day, what you're talking about, Tulane wasn't good on the road a couple weeks ago.
It's true.
And if you tell me that Ole Miss by the betting line is about 10 points better than, I would say they're probably more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see this going down all too much. I would play the over though. I agree with you.
UBN, by the way, says he loved Tulane's uniforms. Of course you did.
Nope.
We talked about them in the stands. That's actually was a topic of conversation. I thought they were awful.
Yeah, I
to
did
wear
not
that
like,
green
I don't
with
like that
blue.
combo.
No, it's don't get me wrong. I like the green and I like the blue, but the way they wore the green jerseys with the blue pants, I don't want to spend any time talking on the, so that was just.
No, I wasn't a fan of it.
All right, real quickly, I want to talk about tonight. And again, I didn't make slides. I ran out of time. I intended to make a slide for tonight. I didn't. And I was frankly too tired to work last night. So a lot of times I'll get some things ready for the night before. I just didn't. I did everything this morning. Got up super early and I still didn't have enough time. But let's talk about Monday Night Football. I'm going to save your Texans for last. There are two games tonight. The second game is Chargers at Raiders. Chargers are giving 3.5. Y'all know that I don't think the Raiders are very good. However, and the Chargers coming off a big win. This seems like a please bet on the Chargers kind of game. I'm taking the Raiders plus 3.5. Whenever you got a division dog at home, I'm taking the dog. And I'm certainly taking it here.
Damn it, Jim. I thought you were going to be shocked when I gave you that sort of speech. I agree. I mean, Pete Carroll has owned Harbaugh in their last few
meetings. I didn't think about that.
Their meetings at the NFL. Yeah. So I don't know how. I think this is going to be a letdown spot for the Chargers. I think the Raiders are going to come out and play really well. And Geno Smith, to those who don't know, is a pretty good quarterback.
He's okay. He's not bad.
He's pretty good. No, he's pretty good. He's a good quarterback.
When you say pretty good, that means to me top 12. I don't think he's top 12. I think he's average. He's 16-ish.
I don't think it's right to say that Derek Carr was top 12, but Geno Smith isn't. I think they're very similar.
Okay. I'm not going to get into it. Again, we don't have time to argue about that stupid kind of crap, but it doesn't matter. I'm with you on Earl says he needs Genty to have a good game for his fantasy team. I don't know. The Chargers were pretty good in week one, but the Chiefs don't necessarily have the fantastic running game. So we'll see. I think Genty could have a good game tonight, but we'll see. He's going to be in prime time. What will he do in his first prime time game? It should be interesting. All right. I want to go to the other one because I think we're going to I don't know. Maybe we won't disagree here. Bucks and Texans. The Texans are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Your Texans, I'm sure you'll be glued to the television. That one starts at 6 p.m. Central Time. That one's on ABC and ESPN, and the other game is just on ESPN. What are your thoughts tonight on Bucks and Texans?
I like the under.
Okay. I don't have a total in front of me. What is it?
I don't know, but I like it.
You just like it. You don't know what it is. I'll try to find it as we go on.
The Texans are going to struggle.
It is 42.5
again. Yeah,
42.5.
I like the under.
Okay.
The Bucks weren't that impressive last week. The Texans offense was not impressive. I don't think they're going to be impressive again. Christian Kirk's out. Joe Mixon remains out. Cade Stover's out. I mean, the Texans are banged up on offense. I think they'll move the ball. They've been a lot better at home under DeMeco Ryans. I think they'll do enough to cover. I wouldn't play it. I would play the under just because I think the Bucks are really going to struggle to move the ball in their defense.
I would play it. I am going to play it, and I advocate playing it. I think the Bucks are going to win handily. I don't understand the spread at all. I don't think Texans should be favored, frankly. But almost everything you just said. I think they're banged up and beat up. Now, if you put healthy against healthy, then maybe I could understand the spread more. But you're telling me that these teams are even on a neutral field? I don't think they are. I think Tampa Bay is one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the NFC. I don't necessarily think that about the Texans in the AFC. So I don't know. Maybe it's not a fair comparison because the AFC is better than the NFC. I get that. But just in general, I think that Baker Mayfield has proved his worth. I think the Buccaneers offense has done enough to make me feel good about where they are. And I think Tampa is, in the end, I predicted them to go to the NFC Championship game. We're only in week 2, but I just think that Tampa Bay is a solid pick, a strong enough pick to bet it. Strong enough pick to bet it.
I wouldn't bet it.
David says he doesn't know the line. And I'm going to, you can laugh about that, but I'm going to tell you this. I think if you put Gabe and I together and we went through lines for every NFL game, and I haven't looked at a single one except the Saints, I bet you I'm within 2 points on every single one. So, and I know you're just kind of like joshing a little bit, but I bet you if I would have asked Gabe, what does he think the total is? He would have told me within 2 points of 42.5, one way or the other.
Yeah, I probably would.
If
I mean, obviously it doesn't mean much retroactively saying this. I would have probably said 43.5.
I'm certain that you would have got that answer right. We've done this before. Yeah. As we say, I could probably make lines for you.
Yeah,
just saying.
The Texans
defense,
awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, this Texans defense, for those who haven't watched them, are going to be in for a treat.
Yeah,
this defense flies around. They are very good, and I think it's going to be an ugly
fun game.
I think it'll be ugly. No. So do I. I love ugly football. I Iowa football on Saturdays. It's going to be ugly football, but I think it's going to be fun.
All right, I got about 3 minutes left, so I will see you on Wednesday. I have no idea who our guest is as we speak, but we will have a guest. We will talk more about LSU, whether it's with the guest or not. We'll talk about LSU and Tulane. In fact, we might talk more about Tulane this week than we do about LSU, since LSU's playing Southeastern and Tulane's playing their game of the year, in my opinion. They can afford to lose. If they lose, okay. Excuse me, they can afford to lose. They just can't afford to lose ugly. So anyway, we'll get to that. We'll see you Wednesday, Gabe.
Cool. See
you. All right. Gabe and I both like the Raiders tonight, plus 3.5. Gabe has no pick on the Texans Bucks game, but I do, and I actually like it more than I like the Raiders pick. I think I did pretty well this week. Okay. Hear anybody chirping about my picks? If you bet my picks this week, you had a really good weekend, and I would have had an absolutely incredibly phenomenal weekend had Darren Rizzi not absolutely been a dumbass. And so thankful that this guy is not the Saints coach. Okay. Did you see what happened in the Broncos-Colts game at the end of the game yesterday, by the way? All Darren Rizzi. Okay. Special teams blunder of the year. The Colts inexplicably just decided they were going to almost kneel on the ball at their 40-yard line instead of went backwards. It was time on out to kick a game-winning field goal down by a point. And so what do? They go backwards. Just horrible coaching by the Colts as well, by the way. But so it's 4th down, or whatever down it is. Doesn't matter. The clock's going to expire. It's the last play of the game. And the Colts have no chance, but they have no other choice but to go out there and try a 60-yard field goal. I don't even remember the dude's name. I just know that I'm playing him in fantasy. And I'm like, he can't make this field goal because I'm in a super tight game. Anyway, goes in there to kick a 60-yard field goal. The kick is not even close. It's about 4 yards short. He has no chance to make it from the time it's off his foot. However, Darren Rizzi's special teams decided they were going to try to run over the center, which any normal coach in the NFL, college, or high school knows you can't do. Not Darren Rizzi. Not their guy. No, they run over the center. They give the Colts 15 yards. And so now it's a 45-yard field goal, and of course the dude drills it. I had the Broncos money line, and I also had it in a 3-team parlay that paid 7-1. So you know what happens. Sigh. Yeah, you know what happens. Thank you, Darren Rizzi. Jackweed. Jackweed of the day is Darren Rizzi. Anyway, we're going to go forward. I think the Colts still are who we thought they were. I mean, for crying out loud, Daniel Jones is their quarterback.
But he's playing so well, Derry.
It's 2 games. They will turn back into the pumpkins we thought they were soon enough. All right. Time to move on. Again, I got to end this show. Thank you, everybody. Rocky, glad you're here. You're late. You wanted to check in. I'm glad you did. Hope you enjoyed the game. Charles Mangus, great show again. You've seen some other Saints and sports podcasts, and they suck. All right. Well, I don't think they suck. The ones I watch or listen to, I mean, they're not as good as we are. I'm a little biased. Tell your friends about us. That's the whole point of all this. Tell your friends how good we are. Whoops. Sorry about that. Tell them to come join in on the party. They can type in comments. They can talk like everybody else. What else we got here? Cannon McGee, hello. Mark Gapsky is saying thanks to Gabe. Okay, well, thanks, Gabe. Randall says the Bears will. How about that, Dennis? I never even got a chance to like rail on Dennis Allen. How about that Bears defense? 52. You know, Dan Campbell was eating that up, beating Ben Johnson by that much. Saints fans, if you weren't paying attention, you were probably eating it up too. Bears defense, not good. Not good. S. Callie, great show. Thank you so much. Lance, great show. Thank you. LSU's playing Ole Miss at 2:30. Okay. If I want to improve my ratings, lose the close-ups. If Northern Saint, if anyone gives a rat's ass what I look like and they don't want to watch this show because I'm ugly, then they can take a flying flip off of a bridge somewhere. No, maybe not that. Let's not go that extreme. But how about they take a flying flip off that patio? Like they accidentally flip, land in the grass. I don't want them to get to her too bad. I don't care what, avoid the close-ups. Take a hike. I know you're probably joking, but take a hike. Let's see. Adam Varner wasn't here earlier, so Randall says it's crazy. He thought he was the best defensive coordinator in football. Nobody thought that. Adam Varner, we missed you here earlier. Rattler did well, missed some good throws. Everyone misses good throws. Lobby in the end zone. Defense looked pitiful. Mac Jones looked like Brady. Looked pretty good. Kamara also looked good. I will say that, and I said this earlier as we go off here, one of the last comments here we're going to make. Again, if you missed Terry's Dime early, you can go back and watch it. But I thought Kellen Moore's play calling was much better in this game, and the concerted effort to get Alvin Kamara involved was important. Who did that, Daddy? What did I do to him? I have no idea. But I'm just going to say it. That's like and I usually ignore it, but I didn't this time. That's like the 8th or 9th time he's like, and I don't know if it's a he, it may be a she for all I know. I don't care. I'm just going to stop showing his or her comments. Keeps commenting on after the fact about my physical appearance. Okay, I'm not pretty. I get it. I don't care. The only one that I care that thinks I'm pretty is my wife, and she still thinks I'm pretty, so we're good. My kids like me good enough to make me did I show this to you, by the way? My girl made me, I did show it. My Dattitude bracelet. Love it. Bunch of horse hockey. Absolutely, David Ash. I'm losing weight, yeah. Trying, man. Although, again, all that food that the Tulane people gave me, it's tough. It's tough. Chad, great show. Thank you so much. Black Preacher Man, thank you. I salute you again. You think Northern Saint is a crush? Maybe. Daryl Hayden, awesome show. Thank you so much. All right, that is going to wrap it up for us on this Monday morning, now afternoon. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. Again, you see when the next live show is if you're watching us live. And if you're listening after the fact, be a part of the live show next time. I know you have work, but, catch us during lunchtime or something during your break. I don't know who our guest is, but I will find out hopefully later this afternoon. And if you missed Friday's show, we have a new segment on Fridays to go with our pick'em. Damon Singleton, longtime meteorologist from New Orleans, is going to tell us what the weather's like for the weekend. The Saints are on the road at Seattle, so that'll be interesting. What's the weather going to be like at Seattle? He's going to let us know. LSU's at home in Baton Rouge against Southeastern, and Tulane's on the road in Oxford. So we got a little wide range of stuff going on there. Damon Singleton on with us on Friday, and of course we'll have our pick'em. But our guest segment, I am trying to get someone from Seattle to come on the show, even for 10 minutes on Wednesday. We'll see what happens. I want to thank Gabe Henderson. And of course, I want to thank you for joining the show, the Dat Family. Always welcome. We always love you. We always want you here. You're not just guests, you are family. That's why you're here. Again, join us on Wednesday, September 17th, 11 a.m. Central Time is our next live show. And if you haven't done so already, a reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. Tell your friends. Get them to subscribe too. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Catch my shorts. I've been doing pick'em shorts. I will do one for Monday Night Football. In fact, I might do two. I might do one for each game on Monday Night Football this evening. Also, we're going to have other shorts. I'm probably going to put Derry's Dime into a shorts format, maybe have that run tomorrow. So I'm trying to increase the number of shorts that we're doing here on YouTube and on TikTok. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And find a replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports. You can find me at bet.NOLA.com. You can find our Saints Insiders on NOLA.com/Saints. It's only a couple days till we come back. We will see you all on Wednesday. Until then, take it easy, my friends.